Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beautifuls. How are you? Welcome back to our channel. Today's video is all about achieving balance in the many roles we play in life, especially for all the parents out there. Whether you're a mother, wife, daughter, sister, friend, or coworker, striking that effective balance is crucial. So today we're going to be discussing part one, know when to give and receive. One of the first lessons we'll discuss is knowing when to give and when to allow yourself to receive. It's important to emphasize that not all forms of receiving are healthy. These are vital lessons that you must master before you can teach others how to treat you respectfully. And remember, mastering them takes time and patience. So give yourself some grace when you are achieving this goal, because it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take, maybe a few consistent months or a couple of years to really master this process. All right. So when you learn, you teach. When you follow, then you can lead. Let's break this down into clear steps to help you achieve this balance, okay? Giving and receiving from a parental standpoint involves a delicate balance of nurturing your children while also ensuring that you, as a parent, receive support, respect, and self-care. Here are some fundamental steps to help you navigate this. And I hope this works out well for you, okay? So number one is setting boundaries. And we're going to talk about giving and receiving on all of these steps, okay? So first we're going to discuss the giving and then we'll discuss the receiving part. So the first one is setting boundaries. Giving and setting boundaries, you want to clearly define your expectations, right? The rules and boundaries for your children, and make sure they understand what is expected of them in terms of behavior, responsibilities, and chores. And on the other token, receiving, right? You set boundaries for yourself as well. You communicate your needs to your family members and let them know when you require time for self-care or personal activities. I recently had to do this with my kids. I was feeling very overwhelmed in the last few weeks since school has started, and I have been, waking up extra early, salah, then making breakfast, making lunches, and I'm talking about on a daily basis consistently, and it's a lot of work. And then taking them to school, making sure that they're on time. But before I do all of that, in between breakfast and lunch and taking them to school, I have to get them dressed. So I do that individually. First I get Shadan dressed. He's the youngest. It's easier to go ahead and get him ready, have him sit down at the table and wait, and while I get Simone dressed. So it takes time, and then during that time, it's like I started to feel a little lethargic. So I needed some reflective and time for myself. And so I had to set those clear boundaries with my children to let them know that, on Fridays, I'm going to need a little extra rest. On Saturday, I may need to sleep in a little bit longer, and then we'll go to the park, and then we'll have some fun time and family time and all of that. But make sure that you are also addressing your needs and taking care of yourself. So that's number one, setting those boundaries, those healthy boundaries, right? Number two is reflective communication. So on the giving end, you want to encourage open and honest communication with your children. Listen actively to their thoughts, feelings, and concerns, and offer guidance and support. On the receiving, balancing end of that, you want to encourage your children to express their needs and feelings and be receptive to their feedback. This shows them that their opinions are valued. So not only are you encouraging them to communicate with you about what they need while you're listening, on the receiving end, you're doing the same, right? You're encouraging them to express their needs and feelings, and you're being receptive on and being receptive to their feedback, however that looks. Don't be judgmental, just listen. Make them feel like that you understand as a person, because we've all been a child, right? And we know how that feels. So respect their feelings. Don't make it small. Don't make them feel small. Don't make them feel like their feelings are not important. So you want to make sure that you're showing them that their opinions are valued. Number 3 is model behavior. So be a positive role model for your children by demonstrating their values, behaviors, and habits. You want them to adapt. Okay? Show them respect, kindness, and empathy in your interactions with others, right? Because when we follow, we can lead, right? So we have to show our children how to follow our example by being leaders in the family. Be open to learning from your children as well. They can teach you valuable lessons about patience, creativity, and resilience, no matter how young or old they are. I have 2 sets of kids. I have older children that are in their 20s, and then I have, my 2 littles that are 8 and 4. And so I definitely have taken the time to learn from, all of my children respectively, and I still continue to learn from them today. And I also let my older children also know that I value them and that I appreciate their time and their intelligence and their wisdom, because they're growing into themselves and they have a lot to offer me as their parent, as their mother. They're in the time that they in their time, was a lot different from mine. Growing up, I grew up in the 80s as a kid, as opposed to them growing up in the 90s and the 2000s. You know what I mean? So, and then especially the little ones that we deal with today. I mean, we're in 2023 and it's extremely different. They have more technology and things like that, and it's being used on a daily basis in school and with their homework and things like that. So their time frame as well as mindset is different from ours, and so we have to be open to learn from our kids and understand who they are. Number 4 is self-care. Prioritize self-care to ensure that you are mentally and physically well. A rested and relaxed parent is better equipped to give love, support, and attention to their children. Allow yourself to receive support from others when needed. Don't hesitate to ask for help from your partner, family, or friends, especially during challenging times. And I know for a lot of people, me included, I tend to have a hard time asking for help because it makes me feel too needy, and I'm the giver of the family, right? I'm used to being the giver, and sometimes the giver needs love too. And I actually found this out later on in life in my 40s that, sometimes it's just as good to receive as it is to give. And so you have to allow yourself that time to be able to rest, reflect, recoup, let your cells in your body regenerate, and just let your mind relax sometimes, especially if you are a full-time parent, a single parent. And when I mean by full-time parent, like you are very attentive, you work full-time, you take care of a household, you have a husband, and you take care of your husband, you are wearing a lot of different hats. And so you need to be able to have that self-care time to be a better you. So that's very important. And in all of that, you are teaching your children how to take care of themselves, how to make themselves also a priority. Prioritizing yourself is and should be a focus, right? I think that You definitely don't lose yourself, or shouldn't lose yourself, even if you're in a marriage, in a committed relationship, even if it's a good marriage. You all need respective time to yourselves to be who you are as individuals, so that you can come into the relationship and stay in the marriage as a whole person, right? Not as a half of a person, not dependent on the other person to fill you up. And that's even with your children. You know, your children don't define you or fulfill you. You have to be a full person in order to give to your children and show them and show up for them how, what that looks like. So it's very important to have that self-care time. Number 5 is teaching independence. Encourage your children to take on age appropriate responsibilities and tasks, gradually teaching them independence and life skills. As your children become more independent, recognize that they may need you less for certain tasks. Use this opportunity to invest time in your own pursuits and interests, right? So, make sure that it's age based, it's age appropriate, or maybe not even age appropriate, maturity appropriate for your child, and giving them that time to figure things out, problem solve for themselves, really helps them to develop their sense of confidence, and gives them the experience that they need to grow. You guys, I mean, if you think about it from a faith-based standpoint, we all go through trials, bouts of trials and tribulations, right? And it's not because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love us or think highly of us, right? It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to grow us. God wants to grow us into the person that He knows that we can be. The saying is, and I know that you all heard it before, God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. And that's certainly a true, very true statement. And when you know yourself, you can trust yourself. And one thing that I told my son yesterday when he was playing, I took him to the park to play yesterday, and I constantly instill in him is positive affirmations, because he's 4 years old, and so he can't climb as high as his sister or as fast as his sister. His reach is not, as long as his sister's, and she's 8 years old, and sometimes that frustrates him. So I let him know that, instead of telling yourself that you can't do it, tell yourself that you can. Have the courage, that I'm going to be courageous, that I am powerful, that I am strong, that I can do this if I really put my mind to it and really, really set a goal for myself and don't limit myself, and I was telling him, Shadan, you are a limitless being, you can do whatever it is that you put your mind to and work towards that. So always encourage your children to be their highest, best selves, and give them the opportunity, and to grow into themselves, to learn on their own. Sure, it's going to be a little challenging for both of you, for you as a parent, hearing the frustration in your child's voice. But I think on the other hand, when they finally, it's like a Rubik's Cube, right? When they finally put the puzzle pieces together, they're going to be so excited and so happy and so proud of themselves that they did it, and they did it on their own, right? And so that is definitely a learning curve for parents, especially for moms, because we are the nurturers, by I don't want to say by default, but just, that is that's us organically. We are nurturers. That's what we were born to do. And we are our children's first teachers. So we definitely have to make sure that we're giving them that time and space that they need to grow, so that we can also give that same time that we need to invest in our pursuits and interests. Okay. Number 6 is quality time. Dedicate quality time to engage in activities with your children that foster bonding and creative, lasting memories. I am a big advocate of childhood, right? Because kids are only children from 0 to 18. And then from there, they have the rest of their lives to create whatever, to curate whatever they want to see in their lives. But they spend more time being an adult and less time being a child. And so I think it's very important for us to dedicate that quality time to engage in activities with our kids to foster those long lasting memories, because those are times that they're always going to go back to in their mind and say, I remember when, right? We do it all the time and it really matters. So ensure you also have quality time for yourself and with your partner away from parental responsibilities as well, okay? On the receiving end, you want to make sure that you are also nurturing that joy and that inner child that's within us all, right? We all still have that inner child within ourselves, and we need to be playful as adults with ourselves and with our significant others. I think that that's also bonding time that you get with your partner, and it's very important to have that quality time together. Number 7 is flexibility. Be flexible and adaptive in your parenting approach. Recognize that each child is unique and may require different types of support. Be open to your children's individuality and adapt your parenting to meet their changing needs as they grow. I cannot stress this enough. When you have children, and I want to give a prime example, I had both of my oldest 2 sons. Both play sports and they both played the same position, point guard, growing up, and they're 2 years and 4 months apart. And people used to compare them all the time to each other. Not only do they look a lot alike, but they're they played the same position, and I used to tell people all the time, they're siblings, not twins. They're siblings, not twins. You can't compare them to each other. They have their own individual styles. They may play the same position, but the way that they approach that position and act it out is very differently, even aggressively. That act of aggression towards the basket, they is different. And so people tend to compare one kid to another, and I think that that's very harmful to do that to your kids, to say, oh, your brother was this or your sister's like this, you should be more like them. Allow them the space to grow into themselves. Like, it's okay for them to be who they are, and you have to make sure that you are vocalizing that to your child, that it's okay for them to be themselves, to have their own personality and be unique, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make any of us the same as the other. We have our own fingerprint, we have our own individual toe print. There's things about us, even as parents to children, like we may have the same, similar DNA structure, but we are not the same, right? And you have to be okay with allowing your child and even yourself to be unique, to be organically you. Okay, that's very important, and it builds confidence in your child, and you want to see that confidence in your child, right? You want them to live out their best selves confidently. So make sure that you are not downplaying them, and make sure you're up leveling, making them feel like making them feel like that they can be whoever they want to be, and just support that. Okay. The next one is number 8, And that in the final in this portion is reflect and adjust. Okay. Regularly reflect on your parenting methods and make adjustments as necessary to maintain a healthy balance. Encourage feedback from your children and be willing to adjust your approach based on their input in changing circumstances, because we all know that each child has individual needs as we do. And as they grow into themselves and have more experiences, they're going to change and their needs are going to flux, you know? Just like as a toddler, your child wants to be with you and around you. And this is not every child, but most children want hugs and love and kisses, and they want to be close to you, right? And then as they grow into themselves and start having other experiences with other children, like go off to kindergarten, they need you less, right? They may not, your son may not want to give you a kiss openly in front of everybody publicly on the first day of school. He might give you some pushback and say, Mom, like, don't hover, right? Don't be a helicopter. I need a little bit of space. Like, kiss me in the car, but don't kiss me out in public. It makes them feel uncomfortable, or they want to just feel like they're a big girl or a big boy, and we have to be okay with that. We must adjust to their evolving needs, just like us as individuals. Our needs also change, and sometimes we need our partners or our partners need us. And just like children. So I feel like even as adults, we still are reflective to children, because just like children grow and their needs are different, and they can be independent sometimes, and then sometimes they need to feel that love and security from their parents or their significant others or their siblings or their friends, right? Children need that, and we also need that. So just keep that in mind. Always keep an open mind that you're never too old to learn something new, and your children can always teach you something about yourself that you didn't realize, right? And just I feel like just encourage yourself as well to just let go, let God, live life abundantly, and with an open mind and an open heart. So, remember that parenting is an ongoing journey, and there's no one size fits all approach. Finding the right balance between giving and receiving as a parent requires continuous effort, self-awareness, and a willingness to learn and grow together with your children. I really hope that this made sense. Thank you for joining us today as we explore the art of balancing life as a parent. We hope you found these insights helpful in your journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and hit that notification bell for more content like this. And as always, please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, take care, and remember, you've got this, okay? I love you. Assalamu alaikum.